Welcome to Split the Defense.
Split the Defense.
LEAFS Postgame Edition. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
Whoa, welcome to Split the Defense, LEAFS post game. Another late one, but totally worth it. LEAFS win their 6th in a row, downing Vegas 7-3. Take a second, thumbs up this episode, subscribe to us, rate us 5 stars on whatever podcasting platform, and go ahead and leave us a comment. It was great, CP. What a fucking game. 13 different LEAFS had at least a point tonight. 6 different goal scorers. Holmberg has 2. Domi has 2. Mitch Marner, 6 consecutive multi-assist games. The fourth line looks legit. Defense is in sync. 6 wins in a row, baby. Has this team turned a page, and are these LEAFS legit?
I mean, it's definitely turned a huge page in my fan base books. Because 6 games ago, I was not happy, let's say, to say the least, about this team and where it was. But like now I'm loving it. You know, like how can you not love this team tonight? Just the way they came out, played 60 minutes, you know, obviously a few hiccups in there, probably a couple goals that the goalie wants back. But yeah, just like a totally different team. You know, I think that we've seen flashes of this, but to see it so consistently for 6 games in a row, it's hard to say. Like, I don't know. I don't want to get too high here. Like, you know, it's 82 games. We've seen 6 that have been amazing. And you know, but it's like, it makes me feel good that like tonight's against Vegas. You know, it's one thing to come out and play against Arizona, but like this is like the, you know, cup winner. I know they're missing like a couple of their star players, but that like I didn't feel like that was a big part of the story. Like they're still Vegas, you know. The big part of Vegas is their defense, and you know, and to get so many goals against a D like that, and you know, multiple goalies that sit at the top and save percentage. I like
multiple goalies.
Yeah.
So, do you think after this 6-game win streak, we talked many times? Do you still think big changes should come?
Like, I think that it still sits where, like, I don't love Lagesson out there. You know, I think that you can definitely improve on that. But, like, wow, was I ever happy to see Brody stay on the left side. I feel like we've acquired a defenseman by putting Brody back on his strong side. Like, it just feels like he's a totally different player now. He gave up his first 5-on-5 goal since in the 6-game stretch here. He's like came back, like it's like we reversed time like 2 years now, and he's basically who he was like as a shutdown defenseman. And Liljegren as his D partner is just, you know, I don't know. It seems like the defense is what we were so worried about, but things seem to be clicking. And like even on forwards, I would probably only upgrade on Robertson. You know, otherwise, like I'm really liking what the rest of the team looks like.
Honestly, at this point, can you change a winning lineup? In my opinion, like, I don't know. Sure, Lagesson, I think in this day right now, I think the Leafs need one right defender, and that's it. I think you leave the forward group alone, man. I think it's got enough potential that at any point, a bunch of these guys aren't in their prime, and there's still a bunch of question marks on these guys. And these question marks aren't exactly the question marks of the past, where we're not sure if they do have it. We think they do, and they're really starting to show it. Guys like McMahon, guys like Holmberg, guys like Robertson, Domi's contributing.
Domi, yeah.
I mean, these guys, I think this might be a group that you roll with into the playoffs. You don't change this forward group. You had one defender in the back end. And, you know, with Joe Woll coming back, the goaltending's been just fine. This team can play their way out of so many different situations against so many different teams that I don't know if they need a big change at this point. I think they stay pat in the front end, and On the defense, you get one guy. You're not going to go and we're not looking for anybody in the bottom. You need one impact right-handed defender. That's it. That's all. You don't go messing with everything else. Everybody's playing really well, and I don't think anybody deserves to go. And I think we're set up in pretty good ways with a lot of guys like Timothy Liljegren and Simo Benoit still being our FAs. So
I think the one thing is that Robertson is, I would just like to have kind of like a, maybe not to take him out of the lineup, but a different option. And like at this moment, like I don't feel like you could put Gregor up there, like possibly Holmberg, I guess, if you wanted to try something different. Like, but I just love like Kampf and Holmberg, and it doesn't really matter. Like Gregor was fine with them, but Reeves tonight just looked amazing on that. Like the fourth line was probably the best line. So yeah, like I would just maybe want a different option for the Robertson. Maybe not to just kick him out, but just so you could rotate things a bit more. But yeah, like I'm just like nitpicking at this point though, right? Like, yeah. Tavares has seemed to take in those guys under his wing better than Domi did. And Domi seems to be doing just fine up on the second line. So I might be getting like too much into like the bigger grasp of the team at the moment, but it just seems to be like just that switch alone in the forwards has just made such a difference.
It's really showing Toronto's depth. We've talked about the depth that they've had and the depth they could use, and we've written out lineups, and we've seen many people write out lineups of mixing it up, and it always seems to be taking away from the top line, but it still seems to be that top line's intact, and we've been able to just shift Tavares down to the third and really showcase the depth that the Leafs actually have, because they do have a lot of good players. They have a legit handful of middle six players that are shifting on and off the fourth line, or at least they were starting the year. So who should the Leafs first start tonight for you, CP?
First star, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up between Domi and Holmberg to me. Both goal scorers, like, both got 2, right? I think both of them stood off the page to me. And Marner, with Marner, it's kind of been over the past 6 games to me. And I think that like he's just basically been everyone's always said that he's the engine that drives this team, and I have agreed with that. It's just the problem's been when he disappears in games just like tonight. And the difference is this was a tough game, and he didn't disappear. I felt like he had the same ability to create. So I might be cheating with giving you 3 answers, but who's your first star?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go Max Domi. He was in it. He was around it. He was all over it. I already love the guy. I think that's the guy that deserves the belt tonight. If whoever's giving it out, I hope they feel the same. Yeah. So 19 shots and 3 goals for the Leafs chase Aiden Hill. Yeah. 21 shots and we have 4 goals. And at the end of the period, that's 23 shots on goal. So from David Alter here, that first period is the most shots on goal in any period this season for the Leafs. The Leafs are hot right now. Did you expect this against Vegas tonight? And did you consider they might be peaking a tad too early?
So, yeah, like I thought about both these things. So, like coming into this game, my first thought was just like, I want this to be competitive. Like coming into this road, like 3-game road series going on, or I shouldn't say series, but road trip. I wanted 4 points, and I didn't really care how that they were going to get it, even if it was like 2 overtimes and a win. I just wanted like the Arizona game. I thought was important to show that you can like show up against crappy teams, like good teams can. And then I just wanted to be competitive the next 2 nights. And so like, this was way more than I expected. And to start the game, just like, it was like Vegas kind of tried to turn it on. Right, they came out hot fast.
Start. Oh yeah,
yeah, and
they're
I felt like
big. They're so big. CP, did you notice that they come out? They're so much bigger than the Leafs. They're just like all the players
just as fast
huge.
Or faster. That's like a big part of it, right? Is like it's fine to be like if you're big, it's good, but like you can't be just all bunch of big guys that can't move around. Like they're quick,
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just felt like the first 5 minutes was the most important 5 minutes of the game. Just because they came out hot, just like we said, and like they had to endure like that pace, I guess I should say. And so like, and then once they did, they kind of chipped away a little bit, got a few, offensive zone times, and then they just capitalized on their chances. Jones is a big part of this. Like basically all 3 goals he probably wants back. Not great goals, but he had to also make a lot of good saves. So I think that like there's a lot of people that they're like nitpicking on the goals that he let in, but I mean, in all, he had a good game. Like it's not like it could have gone sideways there. I thought for a second, but he hasn't been playing great, and he did enough tonight, and that's kind of the identity of Jones. But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Jones definitely was a big part of it, keeping them in that. But the Leafs being able to weather the storm of Vegas coming out the way they did to start this game, that was a huge momentum shift in itself, right?
Yeah.
Just getting through, it's like a big PK. That start to the game, it looked like Vegas was going to dominate them. The Leafs couldn't get out of their zone. It was like we were cheering to get across the red line, get across center ice,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they weathered that storm. Momentum had shifted, and they just took over. 6 goals, man, against the Vegas Golden Knights. Like, it's one thing to put up a 9 spot against the Anaheim Ducks, but the Vegas Golden Knights, holy shit. This team is just fucking rolling. So, 6-1, head into the third, and then the Leafs allow 2 goals in 2 minutes and 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Keefe calls a timeout. Chaos ensues anyways. Did you ever worry this game was going to get away from them?
Definitely. I mean, I'm a Leafs fan. I feel like how do you watch a Leafs game and not think that a game can get away from them? But I
felt like 6. I thought at 6. I was like, I think it's fine. Had there been 4, maybe 5 goals on the board at that point, I don't think I'd have felt the same. But at 6, I was like, I don't think they're going to fuck it up at 6.
Yeah, but it turned into a 3-goal lead with a lot of time left, which like I don't care like how the game has gone previous, but just like that is going to just shatter me as a Leafs fan as far as confidence goes. But like, and it's funny, like they let a goal in the first minute of the second, right? And then they let in 2 like within like a minute 30 in the third. So like not a great trend, but like a good trend of being able to bounce back. Not letting it like affect the entire period, because like I have it that they've played 60 amazing minutes tonight, and like maybe it's not 60, but like it's 58. Like there's a couple minutes in there where they're not like they make mistakes, but
that 2 minutes and 6 second period, I guess you take that away.
Yeah,
and then a couple minutes in the first.
Right,
it wasn't all roses, but they held on.
Yeah, and like to me, that's a 6. Like throughout the 60 minutes, you put together 3 good periods, and like it was squirrely at times, but like it's hockey.
Oh, was it ever squirrely? Did it ever heat up and get chaotic? At one point, I thought they were done for.
Yeah, like, and actually with the like score getting out of hand, like I kind of thought like it could get like pretty sideways with 5 minutes left. Vegas doesn't want to go down easy, but at the same time, they know they're gonna lose. So yeah, those are the games where like if that's against like Ottawa, like things get out of hand, right? So not a huge rivalry between Vegas and Toronto like currently yet. So like that's probably why I didn't get like extremely out of hand there. But yeah, like I had those same feelings for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So I think my last thing here is this Phil Cotter guy, I think that's his name. He was in and around it all night. Did you not hear his name like 15 times? Paul Cotter.
Paul Cotter. Man, he had a rough go.
Yeah, he is unbelievable, though. He's like a workhorse, really, really good player. He's in and around it all night, and there was a couple times where things didn't go their way. He took a penalty, and he literally got interfered with like 6 seconds before that by the Leafs, and then he goes back for retribution. They're like, yeah, you can't do that. Put the arm up. So poor Phil Cotter, or Paul Cotter, Phil Cotter. Anyways, Paulie. But he went at Nyes at the corner early in the game. They were going after each puck, and Nyes initiated. Well, he initiated the contact, but Nyes initiated as well, and dumped him hard.
Oh yeah.
So that leads me to Matthew Nyes. He seems to be starting to understand what his size can do. And I think a lot of the lack of star power that we've seen from Matthew Nyes is a stamina thing. But how do you feel about Matthew Nyes fitting into his role this late into the season, this many games into the season, still playing with the big boys? He's pretty much solidified his spot there.
Yeah, I've never felt more confident in him there. I mean, it like you just said, like it's a stamina issue with Nyes. He admitted it himself in an interview where, his college season would have been long gone by now. Like this many games, he would have made it through the playoffs and won his, I forget what it's called, but won the cup in the NCAA. And so like he's figuring out how to be a professional player and how to play 82 plus games. And the best thing is that he's playing his best, like he's a big part of this like 6-game streak. I think that it was just a week ago where like everyone's deciding like what is the best fit for the first line. Is it Bertuzzi? Is it Nyes? He's not quite fitting in, but now he's put together a lot of points, and I think his physicality comes with his playmaking and his scoring as well. Like I feel like he gets more physical the better he plays, and so like he's gonna have to figure out how to do it the opposite way. That like use your physical play to drive your scoring, and like make it come hand in hand that way. And maybe I'm just seeing it backwards. Maybe that is what he's doing, but we were lacking that. Like I don't think he would argue that there was probably a 10 to 15 game stretch where he's just kind of not like invisible, but not as effective as he could be. So he's definitely he's the perfect line mate too, I think, for Matthews and Marner, where he's like very physical, but he's not like just out there to be a goonie. He's not a rat like Bunting was. Like I didn't think that they needed a rat on his team, like on their line. They need a tough like guy that's going to bang into the boards, like be physical in other ways. And
he's that perfect style. He's exactly what they needed. He's exactly what they've needed. Isn't this team going to be so much fun in a few years? Like, God forbid, barring they trade Easton Cowan, with an Easton Cowan and Matthew Nyes core. That's going to be really nice to have those workhorse, strong type players who can score. We're finally going to get that type of team back. It's starting to look like those players are starting to find their way back into the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. And I'm really excited about it. I really like Matthew Nyes' game. He obviously... the coach likes his game. He's earned his spot. It's not just me fanboying him. He is legit. And he's like 22 years old, just got out of college last year. He's legit. Season. He's going to be really, really fucking good for this team.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Do you have anything else for this game here, CP?
I guess I just don't think we've like sung the praises for Holmberg enough. Maybe like Holmberg, I think he's found an NHL spot. He's definitely not the first guy that's going to be scratched. I don't think he's the second. He might not even be the third. I think like he's solidified a spot in the NHL, and Kampf seems to be the perfect partner for him. Like he seemed like he was the Kampf replacement, or like playing on a different line of Kampf. But now that you've put them together, they have such a similar style. Just Holmberg has the ability to finish, and like you see it tonight. He fakes like the drop back to Reeves. No, I meant Holmberg. But yeah, Kampf with the play in front. Not as pretty, I would say, but definitely nice, But Holmberg, though, like fake drop back to Reeves, like goes and just snipes. Like the whole time he's looking goal. And I think you put that with Kampf, you're both responsible in your own end. And like that's a recipe for a great fourth line. And I just hope that Reeves can kind of stay there, because I like it way more with Reeves there than Gregor. Reeves just brings another element. I think he feels more comfortable because, he's not out there with Gregor, who makes more mistakes than he does. He's got two responsible guys, and if he's really gassed, he can just play the center spot and let those two like figure out how to play when the line's been out there too long. But yeah, I want Reeves to be there. And yeah, Holmberg, I just think I was the biggest negative on Holmberg when he came back, just because I didn't love his game every time that he was here the previous times, but totally different player. It seems like he's just totally figured out.
He's found money, right? Like he's a minimum contract. He was like a 6th round pick or something. Right. Holmberg's been nothing but great. He's exceeded all expectations from the day when he was drafted. And, the only thing that I'm worried about is getting attached to these guys. Like Holmberg, McMahon. I feel like a guy like Robertson. I feel like these guys are going to be gone sooner than later. I don't think they're going to be around forever, and I'm worried about that. I feel like if it's not this season, it's going to be this off season. But I do really like Pontus Holmberg. I hope that he plays into a position where they still have his rights and maybe he wants to play here. He signs a contract and he stays here for a while and performs well because, I mean, shit, yeah, like he's another that type of player. He's a take no shit type of player. Clearly built that he can play the bottom six and has that finishing kind of skill. So, yeah, I love Pontus Holmberg. Love me some Pontus Holmberg. So does Mitch Marner. It's his favorite player in the NHL. Did you know that? Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing, we just got to get used to that. Like when you pay your top end guys so much money, like you just got to constantly be finding these, hidden gems and do this year after year. So yeah, probably Bobby McMahon and Pontus Holmberg, they find bigger contracts elsewhere at some point. But that's kind of just what we got to keep doing, right? So it's just great that we found it this year. And speaking of value on your contract, like Liljegren is like at the moment he's playing a top line role, even though Riley's back. I think he finished with more minutes than Riley did, even though that like Riley's on PP1.
It was his first game back.
Yeah, it's true, but I just think
they
that
paired him with Lagesson. Like I don't know why they did.
They basically put him on the third line. Or like third pairing, right? Like that's what it was.
It got tweeted out, it looked that way, and then they said like in no particular order.
Of course, yeah. But like we're looking at the minutes, we're looking at how they're deployed. I don't think you could put Lagesson in anything higher than a third pairing. So that's what it was. So I just think that it's great though that like I don't know, if you get Riley a really good right defenseman, then now your third pair is just so elite with Liljegren and Brody. They seem to love playing with each other. They read each other really well. And there's just Liljegren just snappy passes all over the ice. I think we know that he can be a good player, but there's always, I always mention the good things he does. And then I'm like, yeah, but like, of course we had like the few little instances where he screwed up tonight, of course, but look at the good things. But like now it's kind of like, he honestly just he's had amazing games back to back.
It's all just like good things. Yeah. No, it's hard to say that you take the bad with the good because there hasn't been a whole lot of bad.
And I trust him too. Like that's a big part of it. Is I've always have this back in my mind. He has the puck and like, is he going to do like a 360 turnover somewhere? But wherever he is, if he has the puck, I feel like he's going to at least make the best decision at the moment. Whether it goes his way, it's hockey. Not every play goes your way, but as long as you're making the right decision, and he has been for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, another late one. Thanks for tuning in with us tonight. That is a wrap. Thank you for listening. Thank you for commenting. Hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe to our YouTube. Rate us 5 stars everywhere else. If you really like us, please leave us a review so other people will see that.
Big game next, eh?
Big game we have coming up.
Yes, we do.
Forgot to mention that. Yeah, we got a big game coming up on the weekend. Leafs heading to Denver on Saturday to play the Avalanche.
At Ball Arena. Ooh.
Yeah, Ball Arena.
Oh, yeah.
We had a great show here last time, and I don't expect any less this time.
No, neither do I.
Things should be quite heated. I actually did have one last point I wanted to ask about that game. Do you think that we're in a better position now facing the Avs than the last time? Because you remember Keefe's comments after that game about Devin Tays and Cale Makar when the McKinnon line steps out with those two. It's like they're playing in a different league. So do you think that we are in that league now? We'll be able to keep up with this team?
I think that like the way that they've been playing, it's a perfect time to bring back Colorado because I think very tough on the team when they played them, calling out kind of the star player. I think everyone kind of was, just
there was a lot of comparisons made that night.
Yeah, and so I think it's perfect because Matthews, like even though he's been on this crazy stretch of 50 games, like when we played Colorado, he was basically just. The team itself was in one of its lowest points. So I think that, this is a great time to play them again. So you can kind of see, like, if it's
they're
a real
riding high
comparison or
now.
not.
Yeah, but I'm still saying, like, even if they lose to the Colorado Avalanche, I'm not saying, pack it in, they can't win the cup. That's not what that means. The Colorado Avalanche are a good team. Now, they're not perfect either, so, the Leafs do have a chance of taking them. But I'm still not going to write off the Leafs if they lose to the Avalanche because they are really, really fucking good. So
No, I just think that last time we were writing them off a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think
but
it's
even though
coming back off of like 6 games, and just like it's the momentum that I think will run in the Leafs' favor this time. So it's like you're getting the best version, I think, which is what I want to compare to, kind of to see what they're doing. How are the Avs doing, Ted? Are they on a roll at the moment?
No current roll. We lost tonight to Detroit in overtime. Patrick Kane with the game-winning goal. So that was bittersweet for me. I know. Yeah. I just picked him up in fantasy
Just put him
today.
on your fantasy team.
Yeah, so that was bittersweet for sure. But the Avs got the point. They're still second in their division there.
Yeah. But
Winnipeg,
not on a hot streak, not on a cold streak. You'd
nothing
say?
really rolling as of now. They were kind of losing a few, but then snapped that. And the streak that's going on right now, though, is Nathan MacKinnon 27 home games in a row with points.
See if Matthews can shut that down.
Yeah,
that'd be exciting, eh?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it should be fun and exciting.
And the other M we got to watch for, we've got Curtis McDermott in the lineup lately. Big body. He's been doing lots of crashing and banging, playing a little bit more of his that role that we see him fill in and do. And
as
I think,
what?
As
anything
forward.
On the team.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, in the forward role.
Okay.
Yes,
the forward group. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
That.
I know. And Jack Johnson, oh my God, he's been churning out points like crazy. 37-year-old Jack Johnson. He's almost tied.
He was done years ago.
I know. He's almost got 13. I think he's got 13 points, they said now, which is tied with one of his best years from like 18-19 when he's with the Penguins. Unreal.
Right. Yeah, that is unreal. It's great that Reeves had a good game because we might see some sort of a Tilly on Saturday.
I know. I think there's gonna be a little more crashing and banging this time around.
Yeah.
We'll still see that high skill. Going to be seeing 2 of the highest skilled players in the world, and their high skilled accomplices as well.
Yeah, I wonder if what the Leafs do about adversity. If they go up or if they stay in it and it's close, I can see the Leafs pushing. If the Avs take over early, I wonder if all of this winning streak comes down to a skid. But we won't know. We'll have to find out. Are these Leafs going to push and try even in the hard times? Because this isn't going to be easy, man. Like they've played some pretty mid teams in this last stretch. They've won some pretty big games, but like 2 of them I think were St. Louis in the last week. So like you can't take too much away from that. Arizona and the Ducks, like it's been, I think the Flyers were in there. Like it's been kind of like mid city, but playing Vegas,
was a good one, though. Yeah,
they're gonna sleep so good tonight.
Yeah,
like they're fucking tired. So I mean, going into this game against Colorado, they're probably gonna be a little more sore. If you noticed all the hits they took tonight, and we'll have to see if they can be adverse enough to get through a potentially shitty start, as the Avs are definitely gonna push coming out to start that game.
Yeah, I think the one thing is that even though they've been mid teams, they've been playing more as a cohesive unit, and like that's exactly what you need to beat someone like Colorado. Like even if Matthews does nothing and just goes even with McKinnon, you got like it's the bottom of the lineup, and what we've been asking for forever, and it's a big part of this 6 games is guys like McMahon and Domi, Holmberg, guys down the lineup scoring. So that's what I'm looking for. Not necessarily, does Matthews score another goal, which I hope he does. He's still climbing.
I don't even care at this point. This is just nuts. Like, let's see the playoffs. If we're already to that point, it's like dead season. Great. If he's going to get 70, that's awesome. It's going to be exciting. We'll talk about it when he gets there. But like, he just, I don't know. He just scores again, and he scores again, and he scores again. It's like, it's
automatic.
Like, oh my God. It's almost
everyone
like
I get
more
excited. I can't if he passes the 60 mark, I'm just gonna be like, each goal, I'll be at the end, I'll be running around my street just celebrating.
There will be a point where I get excited again, but right now,
you gotta.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
Like at 50.
I'm trying to go full fan on this.
Wherever he is. Maybe at 62 or 60, whatever. I'll start really being like, okay, this is crazy. And when he passes 65, then we'll have to talk about it all the time. But I mean, it's it happens every night. It's just like it always happens. It always happens.
Want to remind like you and also just everybody else that like this is like something like super special. And a lot of the time when I watch sports, like I look back on it and I'd be like, wow, like I should have been there, or I should have been like more excited in the moment for it. You know, like it was more special than I even realized, even if I did get excited. So like I sometimes I miss these moments of like trying to be invested, and I just feel like I'm fully invested with it. If he doesn't hit it, maybe I'm part of the problem of overhyping it, but I just like think that it's just so special, especially when you stack it up against where it registers against other players in history. It's like, you know, one of the best runs in history. Yeah.
All I'm saying is that, like, do you care? Does 75 pump you up more than the playoffs? The thought of him being good in the playoffs. I don't really care if he gets 75. I don't really care if he breaks a record, gets 70. I don't really care. I just want to see them do well in the playoffs. We're almost there. Like, trade deadline's like 2 weeks away. Then you got like a hop, skip, and a jump, and it's playoff time. And I just want them to do well there. Can he perform there? Can he score 75 goals in the playoffs? I want to see him do it in the first round. 75, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, that's impressive.
Very realistic, yes.
I can see that. I understand that for sure. But like, I just want to enjoy both, you know, like I want to enjoy the season for what it is. And also like, it'll be a new measuring stick, like you said, for what he can actually do in the playoffs. And really that'll be like what people look back on, you know, but, yeah, I just think that I want to live in the moment, though, for this stretch coming up here.
Well, you're not wrong to do so. Yeah. All right. Well, we broke the 30-minute mark. That's it for this show. We're going to call it a wrap. Thank you once again for listening. Thanks for commenting. Hit the like button. Subscribe on YouTube. Rate us 5 stars. Find us on X at STDP Hockey. And search for Split the Defense on all other socials. We will be back on Saturday. Until then, peace.
Peace.
Go Avs, go.
Thanks for tuning in to Split the Defense,
Split the defense.
Leafs Postgame Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.